Don't forget to suck some titties.
Every time I drink wine, I have a thing for Drake's music. Pause. There's something about his music is designed for inebriation and nighttime, because that's where the demons come out. Drake is a fascinating thing because it's like, I don't know, that I haven't, to be honest, I haven't listened to a Drake song in months and months, and I'm a big Drake fan. I'm not someone who's gonna hop off the bandwagon because you get annihilated once or twice. But it's just, I'll be honest, I haven't been a big fan of his most recent music per se. He still has some songs that hit, of course, but the whole body of work in general, his direction, his music, it definitely is steering towards a different direction. But there's something about when you drink a little bit. And this is an unpopular opinion. I do believe if used in the right way, you watch a lot of artists, you watch a lot of different people in different fields. And for the most part, if used correctly, drinking and alcohol and drugs to a certain extent can really kind of reset yourself. And it kind of helps you relax a little bit and reset if used correctly, of course. And also, the last time I drank wine, it was one of my highest viewed episodes. Not because of anything I said, but because it was about Diddy. But yeah, drinking a little cheap ass wine tonight. No, I am not hammered. To be honest, I'm too fat to get hammered off a $10 bottle of wine. But still nice. But it's weird what alcohol does to you. It kind of makes you, I think the thing about alcohol, it makes you seek out nostalgia. It makes you seek out your inspiration of what inspired you at your peak happy moments. And Drake was one of those, like, when life was a lot more fun and easier and you didn't really have responsibilities. Drake was like that for me, where it's rapping and complaining about stuff that really doesn't matter. And yeah, I don't know. I've been for not all night, but a good bit of the night. I've been watching the 100 gigs behind the scenes of him making these albums, these leaks, quote unquote, of his. It's hard to call something a leak when you went out of your way to record something with the intent of eventually releasing it anyways. It's like no one asked you to record. So if you didn't want to leak, you would have never recorded it. But whatever. And watching his behind the scenes of, if you're reading this, it's too late, views, nothing was the same. Watching those, it kind of like, man, he seemed like he was hungry. He seemed he was driven. And then that's what gravitated to you at the time to him. Is whatever you were pursuing, it was that same pursuit. And it was inspirational. You wanted to be the Drake of podcasting. Whatever the fuck that means. Someone do a diss podcast about me, and absolutely destroy me and my whole family tree. That's what a Drake diss would be. But it's odd because alcohol is this thing where it opens these pores. It opens these portals in your mind to access a relaxing part of yourself. And I'll be honest, I've had a little bit of drink tonight, but it doesn't do the same for me as it used to. I don't get completely goofy or light. It clears me. Now, look, if I was drinking some 35% alcohol content type of shit, we're having a whole different conversation here. I probably wouldn't even been able to set up this camera. But if you pick the right alcohol to relax a little bit, I do think it could be beneficial for a lot of people. And then 2 years later, you're going to see me on the street being like, bruh, Give me that Elijah Craig. But so I guess we'll call this the Drunken Diaries. That will be the name of this podcast. And I don't know when this episode is going to be posted because I am on a roll of recording episodes right now. I'm not exaggerating to you. I have like 6 episodes that I've not posted yet. They're just stashed away for a rainy day. And people typically hate that. But what you gotta understand is I'm planning around life circumstances. But yeah, that's a beautiful part. Is that as I'm watching these documentaries, you are watching people just consume drugs and alcohol all the time, creating these things. So in a weird way, I'm watching that and I'm like, well, them consuming these things has equated to open an aspect of themselves to create something that cannot be quantified with the sober brain. That's a weird thing to admit. That's why a lot of artists become addicted to drugs, even athletes, especially baseball players. They get addicted to painkillers, they get addicted to Adderall and a lot of drugs to focus and recover and to become, because without it, they're not able to access that extra oomph to really make it to the next level. So it's been an interesting night. And I've said, Drake's music is perfect when you're drinking a bottle of wine. He has like the harmony of like listening to nostalgic Drake is just beautiful. Listen to like Club Paradise, Paris Morton music, his mixtape days. You're like, oh, this is why people consider him the best in the game and stuff. But sometimes the game and the fame and his name, the game, fame, and name. No blame, put the lanes back in the Drake, pop in the Drake. First take, Stephen A. Where's Max K? Dying in his sleep, pow, now you're off the show today. Now you could talk about boxing, taking fades. Now I'm just a goofy mess. But, see what I'm saying here? Oh, Jesus. This was a bad idea. Or a great idea. Guess we'll find out. Yeah, overall, I think, as I'm getting older, I used to be very but I was very roll my eyes towards ayahuasca and drugs and stuff like that, opening and relaxing someone. And I've never done drugs or ayahuasca per se, but it is an interesting experience. I think that would be. I think people be surprised. I think a lot of these, I don't think these drugs and these quote unquote natural remedies are on earth for no reason. I think they were designed to really reset the mind when we get too caught up in pressure, stress, societal norms. I do think that's why those things exist, But yeah, the Drunken Diaries. Without being drunk. And I don't have a diary. But something's getting in the way. It's my penis in your vulva. It's so cold. Yeah, welcome. I don't even know what fucking episode this is. 347-ish? Something like that. Of the Often Be Podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, and the notification bell must for ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah. Recording this June 21st, 2025, 1:07 a.m. Eastern. Yes, I technically have done a double header today. Well, not technically, because technically the last episode was the 20th, but it was like 6 hours ago, but whatever. fascinating. You ever sitting in your place where you live and you think about, you live in an apartment complex, you think about people who live above you, beside you, around you, and you really think about, what are these people doing right now? It's weird. I don't think neighbor culture is a thing anymore. Like back in the 90s and 2000s, like you were friends with your neighbors. If you need someone to watch your kid while you went to work, you could just knock on your neighbor's door and be like, hey, can you watch my kid? Like nowadays, bro, I have had 4 different groups of people that have lived in this next door apartment over the past couple of years. And I have never said a word to either one of them. And I've passed them on the stairs at least a couple times a month. Each instance. Never said a word. We've never interacted. People in an apartment complex, like, no one really like has get-togethers or groups. It's fascinating how over time community, like apartments, like, because in a lower class, you know, with us poor people, if you don't have community, then you're just a sad individual that just lives in a place that you don't have any say in. Think about that. You don't have community. You have no relationships of friendship, of, man, you know, something were to happen, you know, could you watch my place? Could you make sure, like, no one robs my place when I go on vacation? Can you take care of my dog when I'm out for the week? Like, that doesn't exist anymore. That's not a thing. Everyone's so isolated. Everyone's so into themselves. Everyone's so scared that their neighbor's kind of a creep. Fair so. Kind of am. It's just odd because there's 2 types of people at apartment complexes. There are the people that after 3 months, they just disappear for whatever reason. The apartment complex is moving their shit out. Their shit's thrown out on the street for whatever they left over, or they move after 2 months. And it was like, that seemed like a waste of time. And then there's people that live at that apartment complex for 3, 4, 5 years. And nothing changed. There's no in between. That's the thing. There's no in between. So I guess it's really like, if you're here long enough, you're like, there's no stationary. There's no consistency anyways. There's no point in getting to know people that, honestly, I don't know if they're going to be here in 3 months or 5 years. But I think it's also just simply because we kind of, in communities, you know, even, and it stretches beyond just apartments. Like, it makes sense for apartments because it's really short term for the most part. Like, most people, it's short term, so you don't want to get too attached or connected. You don't want to cause issues with people. That's unnecessary. But when you own a home, you have to see your neighbor every day. You hopefully have a good neighbor that's nice and assistive and whatever. When people move and then you got a new person move in, everyone's skeptical. Now everyone's got their eyes on the new people that move in. Oh, this guy, he has a riding lawnmower because he's too pussy to do his own. Oh, he drives a Tesla. This fucking guy. Oh, he's got a Biden sign in his yard. This fucking guy. Oh, this guy has a Make America Great Again flag. This guy. You know, you're always skeptical of the new guy, of the new family. And because there's more stakes to it, you know, because your property is reflective on what your neighbor. Like, you can have a great property, professionally looked. If your neighbor has let their yard go to shit, their house smells like cat manure, then the value of your property goes down because of your surroundings. And you're like, hey, what the fuck is going on here, champ? Like, hey, man, you need help? You know, I can mow your lawn for you if you really need to. But community is just lacking. But the thing is now it stretches to, I gotta say, I hate townhomes. Yep, you know what? Here's my first rant. I have a little wine in me. I'm gonna go in. I think townhomes are the most overrated fucking houses to rent, own, and everything in between. I never understand. They're the equivalent, even though I own one. When I was younger, I used to shit on the element cars, the box cars, right? And it's weird because when you buy a vehicle, you're like, it's not too boxy. And then over time, every time you walk out to your fucking car in the distance, you're like, wow, I got a fucking box car. You sack of Junie Bean Jones worth of shit. But townhomes. Oh, there's 2 stories. Yeah, it's like the equivalent of getting... Imagine paying $400,000 for a townhome. And you get... If you were to make it into a pie, you're getting 1/3 of a pie. And that's being generous. Because it's all linear. It's all skinny. Oh, you got a little office here. You got a living room. You got a small little kitchen. It has an electrical stove. You've really fucking made it. You have a little backyard, 4x4 feet, that you can literally cut with a pair of fucking scissors. You got a dog that shits in the yard that you can literally see from the fucking ceiling from the third story because it's that fucking small and your dog shit takes 1/8 of the fucking yard. But you know what? You got a townhome, which is weird. It's called a townhome when all the townhomes look the fucking same. I don't understand the value. I don't understand what is with people in townhomes. There's 2 types of people that live in townhomes. It is divorced 33-year-old guys who are dating 20-year-old college girls and they're paying for their tuition. And they live near a college university. Townhomes are near college universities. And the weird part, there's never college people living there. It's always these old fucks that are living there. These middle-aged fucking people living there. And it's their way of like, I don't really want to invest in a real home, but I'm going to pay $2,400 a month for this piece of shit near a Whataburger. Because you know what? I'm fucking special. This townhome thing, it has an impression that you live in a nice neighborhood, but really, when I see a townhome, all I see is men, condensed space, nowhere to park, overpaying, HOA. Man, this is not a place that a man, a husband, and a wife would ever live in that respects themselves. And it's a man-child. So you know what? Maybe I am destined for a townhome. Except I can't afford a townhome. But if I could afford a townhome, you know what I would do? I would buy a townhome just to purposely put signs out that says, fuck townhomes. That's what I would do. Fuck a townhome. Why is it called a townhome? You know why they put town? Because towns are small and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, but it's unique. And then you're paying out of the ass for fees. You're in crowded areas. You have nowhere to fucking park. It's confusing to get to the actual streets to get to your backyard. You have a small little patio with an $80 grill from fucking Home Depot that you put some fucking charcoal in, and then you could carry around on your head like you're a Buddhist. And because you were a booty at making fucking anything on a goddamn grill because you have no life skills, those are people who live in townhomes. Finance assholes. Guys that have money, but they don't really know how to do shit outside of making money. Those are guys who have fucking townhomes. You piece of living trash. Garbage. Alright, now I'm slurring my words a little bit. But you know what? I feel what I'm saying. And no, for anyone that's like, oh, this man must have been denied of a townhome. It's like, no, I have too much self-respect to apply for a townhome. Townhomes are for middle-aged men who play golf on the side, who are divorced, who cheat on their wives, and they are now with a 22-year-old college girl that are looking for a sugar daddy. They can't really afford it, but you know what? Hey, I got a toupee. Here's $20K. Hey, I love you. Oh, I love you too. I'm dating a guy named Gavin. Gavin, and then they drink themselves into abyss. They buy a fucking boat, and then now they're spending most of the time on the boat while she has the townhome. Those are guys who have townhomes, right? I'm such a fool. I promise. I have no bone to pick in this fight. I'm such a fool. The Drunken Diaries. Oh, Jesus. Clint's a fool. But you know what? Truth hurts. Just popped my kneecap. Why you always hating? You know? And you know what? Now that I said that, 3 years from now, I'm going to be living in a townhome. Hey, if that's a good deal, a good deal is a good deal. I'm just saying, you see the prices. It makes no sense to pay $2,200 a month to rent a sliver of cake. Because every time I see a town home complex, it's like a row of 12 townhomes in like a small little downtown city. And it's like, oh, you're near everything, you know? And I look at it and I'm like, why would you pay all this to live right next to everything? You know? Yeah. Under the sea. Under the sea. Gyrating pussy. Now she got a mussy and waiting for me. Yeah. Whew. Bounce that shit like whoa. I promise. Hey, if you own a townhome, you're better than me. I don't own shit. So you know what? All the power to you. Yeah. You know, I honestly think I would be more productive if I was just, you know, it's weird. Like, people take edibles every day. People take drugs and stuff like that. I really do think I would be a better trader. I would be better at doing tasks in the day if I just had the effects of alcohol every day. Not the bad effects. Not the actual consuming. But it's amazing how like much more clear things are. As weird as it is. I'm not saying when you're blackout drunk. But the beautiful thing about alcohol, it's like anything. If you just consume the right amount, it is the perfect drug to experience exuberance, clarity, the access of yourself that you may not be comfortable sober because you're too in your head. I think people like me, for example, you're too in your head about everything. You try to micromanage everything. You're so worried about losing money, whether it's that or sports betting, that actually in a weird way, alcohol makes you be like, you know what? I trust this enough. We're doing it. Diamond fucking hands, as the kids say. Yeah. Now, this is not a promotion for alcohol. But if any alcohol company wants to sponsor, by all means. Unlike these pussy-ass commercials, I'll drink it for you. And that is a weird thing. You know, literally in commercials, you cannot be seen. No one can be seen actually drinking the alcohol, which is so stupid. We can see commercials of people consuming soda. We can see commercials of people. Back in the day, there was commercials where you could see people smoking. And now, granted, we've evolved over time, but I think it's stupid. It's like, if you're promoting an alcoholic product and it's clear the age it's for, I think that's a stupid rule. That you can't be seen drinking a Bud Light or a Corona Light on a commercial that's advertising it. It's really like, imagine they showed a McDonald's commercial and all they could do was just tease it. Like, imagine just teasing your girl all the time. You know, you're licking her kneecaps, you're licking her thighs, you know, you're kissing her neck and stuff, but you never put your lips on her lips. You never slap your dick on her clit. All you do is you just lick the rim of the meat, you lick the sesame seed on the buns, but you never put your teeth in it. Imagine if they did that for crappy, trash, fast food commercials. But that's okay. But we can't watch someone drinking a fucking Corona Light on a fucking beach. So you see the hypocrisy here? They're both bad for you. So let's just call a spade, as they say. It's absolute an oligarchy. I really do wonder, and this is how you know the alcohol's in me, because I'm willing to lose my life to say this. The Rockefellers. You know, there's these old pictures of the Bohemian Grove, these Rockefeller parties where they're all dressed up in masks and shit. I wonder, you know, I think there's a weird thing consistent with these rich ass oligarchs, monarchy families. I think they avoid inebriation at all costs because they could be susceptible to information they can give. I think the Rockefellers and stuff like that, at these parties, they're not the ones drinking. They're providing the drinks to everyone else. They're providing the entertainment to everyone else. And I've never, I don't know what is with people's appeal with going to parties. This class, I'm not talking about like fun Halloween parties at a shitty apartment complex that, you know, that's fun. But you go to these high-level Met Gala parties. And really, you think about the Met Gala and these Academy Awards, you really think about it. Yeah, everyone's dressed up in suits and stuff like that. It's really a glorified, those creepy parties you would see in the past where someone has a lion's fucking face. They have a sheep face. And everyone at this party has masks while they're wearing nice dresses and shit. And they just take pictures looking like, oh, this shit is normal. This will look good 50 years from now, even though this is a secret cult society type of shit. And it is not going to negate any type of conspiracies that about world order or any favoritism or Elizabeth Taylor being at these parties, William Shatner. It's not going to be about any of these motherfuckers here that are going to suscept them to rumors in the future. But we're going to have fun. They were Diddy before fucking Diddy. Yeah, I said it. The Rockefellers did Diddy shit before Diddy did shit. Before Diddy did do it. I'm a fucking fool. Not lying. Let's just say Diddy had the Sorcerer's Stone for a man. But yeah. And apparently, I got to talk about this. This Tyler Perry situation. I'll be honest, and this is pretty, if you're going to talk about something that involves the $200 million sexual assault lawsuit, you should probably read into the details. But there's been text exposed. Not really anything crazy. He hasn't said anything like, oh, I'm going to break that booty back. And it's all these, when you come on set, just make sure no one knows about our friendship. All that weird stuff. Now, I'll be honest. I left a comment. This Tyler Perry being sued by a random actor or whoever on the Oval. He's being sued for $260 million for a quote-unquote SA allegations. I don't want to negate, because this is where the insensitivity part comes in. Let's just say everything that he is being accused of is true. Should he be held accountable? Yes. What in what world is whatever trials and tribulations of this person is $260 million worth what you are accusing them of? What scenario should you be rewarded $260 million fucking dollars? There's not honestly, I don't think there's really a single scenario, unless the situation involved literally someone embezzled you, scammed you out of $260 million of your own dollars. Being this guy, I don't think he was going to make $260 million in the next 10 years or anything. So we can't even use the fact that he cost me earnings by blacklisting me from the industry. Because even if you were blacklisted from the industry, let's just be honest, your earnings wasn't going to be anywhere near $260 million fucking dollars. And I don't want to sound like a defendant for rich people, acting like rich people should just not have to pay anything about anything. But just because you have a shitload of money doesn't mean when you get accused for the same crime as someone else, you should be charged an absurd amount for every fucking thing. Like, yeah, Tyler Perry, he's probably a billionaire, but being sued for $260 million because someone may have been sexually uncomfortable about some things you said or may have did to them, that's pretty insane. If anything, it should just be prison time if whatever's being accused really happened, or a settlement. But there's no way a say it out loud, $260 million. It's fucking absurd. And that's where, it's pretty ironic because it is from a white guy. And it's from a Tyler Perry whose main goal for the most part is to give opportunities to black creators and stuff like that. And he decided to give this one white guy an opportunity. And then he fucked it up. He's going to ruin it for anyone. Just being honest about it. He's ruined it for the whites. Now, Tyler Perry is a divisive character. Because there are people in the black community who are not big fans of Tyler Perry because he depicts men wearing dresses, the perception of female and stuff like that, and it gives a negative caricature to men. And there is a thing where, look, let's just call a spade a spade. There is especially in cinema and history, really not just black men, but men in general, there's always ways to dehumanize us, to make us be less masculine. And once you dress up as a woman, that imagery will always be in people's head, and people will always kind of view you less than a man. Because, and it's weird, I've never actually seen Big Mama's House, and I don't think it's really affected Martin Lawrence's career. But stuff like that, I don't know if there's an inside conspiracy about making, black men be feminine and stuff like that. But in history, in the past, it's definitely been a thing in terms of just men in general. And they, where they really try to get away with men is in sketch comedy on SNL. With Kevin Hart. They had him dress, he dressed up as a woman. And people think this shit's funny. And to be honest, I've never really found men dressing up as women being, funny like that. It can be funny. The only people that really pulled it off was Marlon and Shawn Wayans and white chicks. And the reason why it was funny is because they actually were disguised as women. Not just, you could tell it's Shawn and Marlon Wayans. And then they just put a wig on and everyone knows. And then they're like, They put on a full costume because they worked for the FBI. You could probably tell it was a man and shit like that. But it wasn't like they were just putting on some wig. And I think there's a lot of criticism with Tyler Perry where the men in dresses thing, it doesn't help, and he's capitalized. And part of the reason why a lot of his money has been made off the Medea movies. And there's always going to be critics, whether it's in the black community, or just people in general, where it's the thing that's made you a lot of money is dehumanizing a gender type of thing and disguising it as humor and just entertainment. And that's the thin line between entertainment. It's entertainment until it makes people feel a little bit uneasy of what the objective of that entertainment is. If I go to a strip club, right? That's a wild thing to say. I can't remember the last time I've been to a strip club. If I go to a strip club, right? My expectation is I'm going to see some naked bitches with cheetah tattoos on their thighs and butt cheeks. That's my expectations. We're in the ATL. That's what the fuck is going to happen. All right. I don't know what happens in Indiana. I don't know what happens in, Minnesota, Minneapolis. I don't know what happens in Austin, Texas. But I know in the ATL, you're going to get cheetah tattoos, booty clapping, BBL drizzy, BBL drizzy, stankin'. You're going to get the good stuff. But I know what I'm getting, right? And so it's all about what your expectation is. And with Tyler Perry, now the expectation is, hey, this is the type of movies we're going to get. Did he make a deal with the devil? Did he make a deal with white America? Did he make a deal with the entertainment industry to exploit men, specifically black men, people would say, to feminize them and all that stuff, where even when people are being promoted and seen in the highest view, there's always a way we could find a way that white America, as people say, can find a way to always find a way to tear people down. Possibly, if you're an executive, if a Harvey Weinstein type of executive would look at that way, maybe. But if it's made you a shitload of money, why wouldn't you keep doing it? Is it just entertainment? Is it just, how many Medea movies you really have to make, man? That would be a fair criticism. So, I don't know. It's just interesting, But then again, let's be honest. White people, we have a national treasure. And Mrs. Doubtfire. With Robin Williams, where he dressed up as a female nanny. But the thing is, he dressed up in a costume about it. Type of thing. Or if I remember correctly, I don't know if it was like he died in actual what. I forgot the plot of the movie. Basically, you couldn't tell it was Robin Williams. So it's different. And that's the way we always write. Like, they go out of their way to make sure, like, it's the people in the movie wouldn't know. Where when Kevin Hart dressed as a woman in his sketch, it's pretty obvious. It's just Kevin Hart wearing a dress and a wig type of thing. So, whatever. That's probably taboo to talk about. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. God, I don't know if this is a classic in the making or a disaster in waking. Damn, that's a fucking bar. Take that, Drake. A classic in the making or a disaster in waking. I take you to the baker's office, now you are baking. Nah, that line was trash. I should have just stopped. Sometimes you get too ahead of yourself. You think you're on top of the fucking world and you realize you ain't fucking shit, bro. We having a good time. I love this fucking. You know what? This is one of my favorite episodes I've done in a while. Not because, not because I'm talking about it, but the wine really loosens the drunken diaries. See, here's what I do for content. And here's what a lot of people do for content. Successful or not successful. Well, you don't realize, I'm sacrificing the health of myself right now. I am drinking alcohol. Is that good for you? Probably not. But neither is drinking energy drinks when I'm sober. But yet, why do I feel like this is more valuable? That's the crazy part. When you drink, it's weird because I always say, when you drink, like I'm not rationalized drinking alcohol. But what I'm saying is we use vices. We use things that they're more accepted. I think that's the crazy part. Weird. I've been on two separate sides of the spectrum just in a calendar year. Like, I'm recording this on June 21st, 2025, right? I remember this time last year. I was addicted to the gym. I was addicted to fitness, making money and all this shit. And, I drained myself and I lost my capacity to think by spatial production of how I view things. And it's a year later, I'm lazier. I'm lazier. I'm not as healthy. I'm not in good shape. And then there are weird things where there's some things I'm so much clearer on my path in life about that I wasn't as clear before, right? That I've had so much time to think about shit that I know what I don't want in life. And that's a very scary place to be in. But once you realize, I think at this point in my life, what's most important to me is knowing what I don't want. Because you know what? I think I know what I want, but at the same time, I don't necessarily know the steps to make it there at this point in time. Like, I do what I do, I try, but I don't necessarily have what it takes to get there at this point. But I can tell you this much of being... Let me restart. I can tell you this much. What the fuck was I talking about? See, now I have Alzheimer's. I'm having a Tourette's episode right now. Jesus! I will tell you what's odd, though. There are a lot of podcasts on YouTube, right? I feel like every episode I talk about podcasts. And well, look, it's one of my fucking interests, And look, obviously I don't watch adult entertainment. Wink, wink. I really don't. I haven't watched... I don't even think you could say the word on YouTube, but you know what I'm saying. Adult stuff. I don't think I've watched that shit for like 4 or 5 years. It's weird. Once you become so disconnected to that stuff, it's really kind of sad. And someone made a point. I came across some recently where it's like, you really think about it. When you're watching that type of stuff, you gotta ask yourself, are you watching it because... Are you really watching it because of the girl, quote unquote, that you think you're watching it for? Or what turns you on is more of watching the guy, because for a lot of guys, we can't do what the guys do in these videos. It's not really breaking news here, but that's why we watch it. I don't watch a baseball game because my next door neighbor can hit a ball as far as Manny Machado. I watch them because they're the best of the best. But I don't watch the game, but like, hey, that could be me. But it's odd because you're watching another guy be able to do something better than you. In most guys' cases, So it's kind of a weird dynamic. But it's just entertainment, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with a guy in a healthy relationship where, look, if you watch that here and there you're not attached to a female star, you're not attached to watching the same people and stuff like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with every couple months, you let one loose to yourself. Let the goose loose. And I think that's actually pretty healthy. Right? Like, look, we're human. We gotta rock our socks off. Or just wear slippers. It's a slippery slope, all right. Wink, wink. I think the thing you gotta ask yourself, what are you typing in? Like, my thing, I don't care what videos you watch. I want to know your description of what you're trying to watch. That's what tells everything I need to know about you. But that's neither here nor there. That's for a more younger men conversation. That's not something I want my parents to hear. Even though I feel like my parents hear some of this shit and they're like, just when you think you know a kid. But I don't think as a partner there's anything wrong with watching that stuff. I think it becomes an issue when obviously you're replacing the potential intimacy with the partner and you replace it with the stuff on the internet. That's where it becomes a problem. But let's say, which happens in most relationships, you and your partner go through a drought where you're not having as much intimacy or whatever. I don't think, it's not the biggest deal in the world. And it's crazy to me how like girls and even guys, it's mainly girls. Guys don't really care if their girls watch porn that often. And most girls don't really watch porn that often. Like here and there. Damn it, I just said the word. So this video is going to be demonetized. But I don't really see I feel like that's like a symptom to a bigger issue. If you're mad about, you find out that your man watches that stuff, right? Now, if it's every day, twice a day, all right, I get it. But if it's like you see in his search history, every 3 weeks, he watches a video for 8 minutes, goes about his day, you know what? Would you rather that or him knock his socks off in real life? You pick your poison. So, I'm not rationalizing it, but you got to look deeper into why. The why am I going to search something? Not me. I don't do that shit. I'm a child of God and the savior of your labia. I'm such a fool. I think, for me personally, though, it's fun. Wait, whoa, that's crazy. I'm not even talking about that. In my head, I mentally moved on to a different conversation, but I forgot. I didn't relate to the audience. I'm talking about something completely different. So you really just thought I said watching that shit is fun. I don't watch that shit. But, yeah. I forgot what the whole point of all that was. But yeah, anyways, any jizzaboo. I gotta say, I remember months ago, I had a take that said I hate rewatching movies. And yet tonight, I rewatched a movie that I know I've seen before. And it's weird. I'm making the extra attention to when I watch a movie to fully be in tune with the movie. Meaning, I don't go on my phone. I put my phone in a different room, or I have it on the charger. And actually, because I watched this movie, Deepwater Horizon, like months and months ago. But I watched it in a distracted state, where I was on my laptop. Well, let's be honest. It's weird. And it happens, like, I catch myself doing, I'll be watching a YouTube video, for example, on my laptop. And then when it gets to, like, a advertisement, let's just say on a podcast, like I talked about last time, when it gets to an advertisement, or it gets to like kind of a stale part, but I'm just waiting for it to get through, I'll go on YouTube on my phone and search for and watch a short or another video. I'm watching a YouTube video as I'm watching a YouTube video, and I realize I'm in a YouTube video. What the fuck? Hold on. Out on my thing, so I had to reset that. We're doing it fucking live. We're doing it freaking live, boy. I'll make sure my microphone's on too. God, I'm having so much fucking fun right now. Like, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm having so much fucking fun. This is why I created this show. I wanted to have fucking fun. Now, baby, let me get that fun dip. Let me choke on that cinnamon powder challenge you got going on. But yeah, forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, it's weird, but anyways, like, yeah, we'll be watching a video on my phone as I'm watching something on my laptop on the same network. It's crazy shit, but I've been rewatching movies that I realized I never really watched fully the first time. Like, I remember the key points. I remember kind of what happens, but you miss so much. And I realized I missed so much at the beginning of the movie that actually led to the shit. A lot of the middle shit. It's weird how actually rewatching movies, as much as I used to hate it, I think the older you get, you appreciate more because you appreciate different phases of your mindset. Like, you know, it's not like a life-changing movie. It's just a simply good movie. I watched Deepwater Horizon, which is a movie with Mark Wahlberg. And it's basically about the 2010 BP oil rig explosion that happened, I think, in the Gulf of Mexico type of thing. Or Texas, like off the coast or whatever. And I watched the movie and I'm like, damn, like, this is such a good movie. And I remember the first time and I was like, I don't remember seeing the first 25 minutes. I'm watching the movie tonight, like the first 25 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing like 18 minutes of this shit. And that's because I remember when I watched the movie the last time, I was distracted by a bunch of other things. And I remember the oil rig blowing up, you know, the main scenes, but I don't remember like the build up, what actually, like when they're driving there, all this shit, right? And it's weird because, you know, I'm open to admit, like, I remember I have had takes on this podcast where I hate watching movies more than once. I don't see the point of it. I think it's a waste of time. And then recently I've rewatched Deepwater Horizon. I rewatched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood months ago. I rewatched Wolf of Wall Street. I rewatched The Big Short. I rewatched movies that I know I enjoyed the first time, but then I watch them a second time and have much more of a deeper introspection of, one, the direction, the real message of the movie. Deepwater Horizon is not really a message. It's pretty straightforward. It's based on true story, what happened X, Y, and Z. But of more of like the more dramatic effect, the storyline, the plot, and everything about it. The importance, the entertainment that you miss when you are so distracted by shit that is not the thing that you're actually fucking watching. But yeah, apparently, I haven't seen it. I've never really been into Pee Wee Herman. I've never understood. I don't understand, like, even the 90s when the show was out, or the 2000s, whenever it was out. I've never understood, like, why would people watch this weird guy? Like, I never understood the appeal for a younger person to watch the show. The same with Mr. Bean. That was a big thing in, like, the 2000s, the Mr. Bean movies. And I think that was more of a British thing, but whatever. But the Pee Wee Herman, apparently documentaries come out where I don't really know too much details, but I guess it's more of just hey, he pretended to be straight. It's like, did anyone really watch that show? Just by seeing the concept of the show, the individual, they didn't really see that show and be like, yeah, this guy was straight. Yeah, probably not. But who cares, right? I don't know, It's weird how we have let pop culture and nostalgia really influence current day pop culture and nostalgia. What I mean by that is like, take Pee Wee Herman, for example. What if Pee Wee Herman actually... It's weird. It's kind of odd. I'm literally thinking about this in real time. We think about how we're progressive and television, and we think we would want X, Y, and Z. Pee Wee Herman, weirdly enough, would be more better suited and accepted in today's world than it was back then. You would think a show like Will and Grace would be so heavily accepted today and not in the early 2000s when it didn't have to be. I think we live in this illusion. It's kind of weird where we're so accepting of things, we're so progressive, and all that is great. But I don't think we really, from our entertainment choices, I think we're less progressive than ever. I don't think we choose the going against the grain because, weirdly enough, at that time, the Will and Grace, the Pee Wee Hermans, and stuff like that, it was going against the grain. So there was an edge to it. There was I don't know if I should be watching this. I don't know if I should like this. I don't know if I can like this and be for this and all this stuff. Or can I draw the line that this is entertainment, X, Y, and Z? I don't know. And that's a weird thing. And nowadays, it's weird because we've integrated all these things into it. But we've never really made it the main story in things. It's always a side thing. It's almost like the people that make it feel like they can't really make it the main thing. And I don't know if that's a shitty thing. I don't know if that's a good thing. But, that's just a thought. Just a thought here. Because boys just want to have fun. Because boys just want to have fun. This is a weird thing. This is probably a very niche audience. But, God, my balls itch. Shouldn't say that out loud. But there's it's weird. I'll be honest, I get it. I get why people hate Brendan Schaub. But one thing I don't really like about the criticism community, all criticism is fair. Let me get that out of the way. But it feels like there are literally channels dedicating to just hating and criticizing an individual. I'll just say it. There's a channel on YouTube called Unique Entertainment, who's actually been sued by Brendan Schaub, which probably didn't help Brendan Schaub by any means. Where literally every video on their channel is critiquing a 2-minute situation in an hour and 40-minute clip in a podcast. And they're criticizing a stupid thing he says or a shitty or an annoying perspective or a lack of awareness thing. And I get it. I'm not saying, there's sometimes, the Gringo Poppy is legitimately, I remember when it came out the week of. And people always said, this is the worst special ever. And then I listened to it and I watch it and I'm like, I don't even know what to feel about this. It was it wasn't even that the jokes were bad. I think the issue with it more was, man, he really thought this shit was like good. I think that was, but near here nor there. Regardless of that, there was like, bro, like, so The Fighter and the Kid, it's a long lasting podcast. There's a lot of criticism from the Fighter and the Kid community on Reddit, online commentators, that some of their whole life's mission is just criticizing Brendan Schaub and whatever. They moved to Texas. They have their studio. They have these 3 to 4 stories. And their podcast is pretty meh. They have bad audio for a professional podcast. That's not great. When you have a legitimate producer, you have all the bells and whistles, and you have air conditioning vents running. I live in a shitty ass apartment, and my audio probably isn't great, but I make sure the air conditioner vents turned off when I record, even though I record right next to it. I'm mindful enough of that. So yeah, that's not great. But there are channels that's like their whole life mission is just like, they'll let a clip play for 4 minutes, and then they'll talk about for 3 minutes about, and then Brendan Schaub. It's like, it's weird. People will watch some, and this is kind of a general take on online criticism of media. And Abba Preach, they responded to a video that criticized them that kind of relates to this. So I think it kind of relates to that. People will take an hour and a half show. They'll find the thing that has the least to do about the show, the most obsolete thing someone says, that's not even about the main subject of the show, the title or whatever. And they'll take that and completely interpret the narrative of an episode to that. And then people that don't watch the show, but they are on this hate train about an individual, they just live and die off of that. And it is kind of getting to a point. As older I get, I'm like, I look at a lot of these people as pretty pathetic. I'm not saying don't criticize people, but when your whole channel is literally designed around just a hate train on the individual, it's like, bro, like, it gets to a point where can you just hate on anything else? And I'm not someone that's like, oh, all the haters and shit, but at the same time, it is like, all right, man, like, yeah, he says stupid shit. Yeah, he's not the smartest. He's not the sharpest tool in the toolbox. He's not, X, Y, and Z. But god damn, like, it's just weird that there are people making money whose whole job is just to criticize and make their whole livelihood about everything that's wrong with one person. And that's what online media has kind of done. It's made it okay. It's no different than Skip Bayless, which, let's be honest, has made a whole career on hating LeBron James, and back in the day, having a very controversial article and book that included Troy Aikman's, his accusations about him. But let's be honest, Skip's claim to fame of Cold Pizza First Take was riding on a hate train about LeBron James. And I'm not saying all criticism was unfair, but like, come on, man. Like, I remember it was one of the finals. It may have been the one where he beat the Warriors and came back 3-1 with a less man team and whatever. And even when he won the finals, there were, I remember it was still like, well, he's still not this. It's like, bro, he just won the fucking finals. Who cares what he's not? He just did. And if Michael Jordan did this shit, you'd be creaming your pants, like basically putting his dick in your mouth at every possible chance you could. And there comes a point where it's like all cute and fun. It's online, but there comes a point where it's like, all right, man, like what? People are making a whole career off literally, like, if you're going to go down this alley of criticizing podcasters and media, like, you can't just have 98% of your content be about one individual. Because you can listen to anything and find something wrong with anything if you really want to create that narrative. And I'm just going to say, I don't give a fuck. This guy who streams and shit, he literally was on camera and you can hear in the background of him beating his girlfriend / wife, baby mama, whatever. So obviously, this guy's that shit, and even went to jail for a period of time. That's why he wasn't posted. But these are the guys that are focused on little things that Brendan Schaub says that's contradicting. I'm not sitting here defending Brendan Schaub and every shit he's ever done. A lot of shit that these people make videos on him, it is fair to an extent, but there comes to a point where it's like, every time I'm like, man, you made another video shading on one individual that is just doing something. You know, it's like, you know, you can say what you want about an individual like Brendan Schaub, but he's just making fucking videos. He's just making podcasts. But yeah. Good times. Damn. No wins today. But that's how it works sometimes. Oh my God. You know, that's how it works, right? Like, yeah, I'm just going to be transparent. I just looked at my baseball predictions for tonight. There was like 11 games tonight. I only felt very confident about 2 or 3 that I felt like had a really good chance for the value. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to up it. Typically, I keep it small, which kind of leads to nowhere. You win a couple, you lose one, and you kind of end back in the same position. And I was like, I'm going to increase size. They always say, when you feel confident, less trades, increase size. So I did that, and I lost all 3. So I just lost more money than I typically would. But that's how it works. Every time you feel like, I just need to increase the amount. And it seems like you'll always lose when you do that. But yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, that podcast there. God, this was such a good fucking episode. The Drunken Diaries. Yeah. I enjoyed a little wine tonight. Enjoyed the guys. Enjoyed the fellas. That sounds sus. But yeah. That was episode 347 or 8 of the Off of Me podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, and the notification bell. Most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah, God, I really enjoyed that episode. I'll probably look back when I'm listening to this and be like, oh my God, you piece of shit. I can't believe you would say that. But yeah, here we are. All right, guys, have a great day, morning, night, evening.